Welcome to the Rubecast. It's been a while. I think it's been, 2 weeks.
I think longer than that.
I would like to welcome one of my biggest fans, my sister-in-law, Michelle Wynia. How's it going, Michelle?
It's going well. It's good to be here and be on vacation.
And you're moving to Montana. Wow, thanks for announcing that.
That is news to me.
Wow, that's great.
Wonderful.
I'm just really glad. You know, I've been trying to tell you got to move here, and then sure enough, it's official.
Well, we could talk about that later.
You heard it here first. No.
Well, yes. No.
I am kidding. You don't plan on moving here, but that doesn't mean I can't keep
Lord
trying.
The Lord knows, not me, so.
Interesting.
Yes. I am making no big life changes as of right now.
So what are we going to talk about?
I don't know. We talked about books. We said we could talk about being the oldest. We could talk about, I don't know. You and I think we like different movies. So we talked about movies, but I don't know that we watch a lot of the same movies.
We like some same movies.
Probably.
We like The Princess Bride.
We do. That is my favorite movie.
We like, let's see, what else? Are you, so you would be, okay, all right. Now I'm going to do this.
All right.
See if I have a piece. I don't have a piece of scratch paper.
All right.
ASMR. I'm going to just, off the top of my head.
Okay.
John Candy or Chris Farley?
Probably John Candy.
I kind of figured that.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little older, so,
Uncle Buck?
Yeah, Uncle Buck. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yep. Because he's the classic.
Mm-hmm.
Burgers or pizza? That's a hard choice.
I do like both.
I drive a hard choice bargain.
You do.
Even though that's not a thing.
I would say probably burgers. I do love pizza. It just depends. But I have burgers more often, so I'll go with burgers.
That's a very rational. Let's see. Coke or Pepsi?
Oh, Coke. Actually, I'd go Dr. Pepper,
but that's when you
Coke.
know that a person is saved.
Yeah. I didn't know my salvation was dependent upon that.
Okay,
well, good
even
to
though
know.
you do use an Android.
I do use an Android.
So Android or Apple?
Android every day, because I am not a get on the bandwagon person. Like if everybody's going, hey, let's get an iPhone, I'm like, Samsung all the way, man. So
Samsung is good hardware.
That's what I've got.
And
that's all I've had.
I sold phones.
Yeah.
For a while.
You would know.
But I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast, but
I don't know. I can tell you.
When you could tell me, because Michelle was an early adopter. So it's kind of neat to have an earlier, I can speak well.
It's all good.
Early adopter on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Josh was an early adopter.
I'm sure.
Cinema.
He's your brother. Yeah.
But so Windows Vista happened. I probably told this story, but I'm going to tell it again.
You did. It doesn't sound familiar.
It was Windows XP.
Yes.
That was my favorite operating system
Mine too.
of all time. Mm-hmm. Then they switched to Windows Vista, and it made me so angry that I switched to Apple Computer.
Oh.
And I learned a whole new thing. Well, then I switched to Apple Computers, and I found out that they have a really nice free recording software called GarageBand.
Oh, that
I've
seems
recorded
appropriate.
most of the things I've recorded on GarageBand, and I even have this better one called Logic Pro.
Okay.
I still use GarageBand most, like for this GarageBand.
There you go.
So that got me hooked. So
Makes
then
sense.
when the phone thing was going on, I had this really garbage Palm brand phone, and I don't know if it's Palm or something. It was a not good. They were trying to be a BlackBerry, but they weren't.
Right.
Because all my cool youth pastor guys had BlackBerries, so I thought, well, I'll try it cheap. It was a Palm something or other. It had all the buttons and a full keyboard and stuff, and I couldn't stand it. And then I got an iPhone, and because I had already been using Mac stuff, it made sense. And so now, if I write a note, and it's the same with Google stuff, but if I write a note on my phone, it's on my computer, it's on my iPad, so it helps for what I'm doing.
Yeah, my roommate has an iPhone too, and she has all those things connected. And Samsung is getting better at that, but I also use a lot of Google stuff.
You got to go with Google.
Yeah.
Android, because I mean the Google Pixel is an Android thing,
yes.
So.
Yeah. I don't have. Yeah. But everything connects through Google and my Samsung. It's very nice. Oh, here we go. Does that mean I have to open mine too?
You can do it whenever you want. I'm having Diet Caffeine-free Coke. Michelle has a Coke Zero with caffeine.
With caffeine, because Michelle likes her caffeine.
I do too. I've already had a cup of coffee and another Coke Zero today with caffeine. So
it's my second Coke Zero.
We're trying to sleep. We've been staying up late talking about life.
Yeah, we have a tendency to do that when we're together.
We do. We have, and I think, I don't know if this, is it an older kid, oldest in the family thing that
Maybe.
We want to maximize the time? So
yeah, that's definitely me. I don't know if it's
me
you.
too. I don't know if it's a family order thing, but that's how I feel when you're around. Is we got to get some good quality time.
Quality time is a love language I have. Quality time and words of affirmation.
So I'm words of affirmation and gift giving.
Oh yeah,
which you give me lots of stuff.
I do like gift giving too. I do like gift giving.
Well, it's funny. We were going through because you knew my mom.
Yeah,
and. I think one night Val and I were going through what were mom's love languages, and then we just got to the end of the list and go, my mom spoke all the love languages fluently,
which is good.
You know? But anyway,
That's
you
awesome.
are like, you've always given me great words of affirmation because Michelle and we've known each other for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
Because Val and I will have been married for 20 years next month.
And I met you when you came out to Iowa with Val and my dad and Josh, my brother Josh.
Whatever year.
Cousin
Tammy got married.
Right. I was in college. So I think you were probably like...
You're in college?
No, I couldn't. No, I must not have been. It must...
Yeah, you were
But it was in Iowa. I remember.
And whatever year Tim and Tammy...
Maybe that
Green
was it.
got
2003.
Married. So it was their wedding.
Why do I know that? I don't know.
Because I went out there with Val and
that
Chris.
Was what it is. Yeah.
And
so we've known each other 22 years.
22 years.
That's a long time.
That is a long time. That's a whole lifetime.
Yeah. That's why I call you my brother. So.
And I call you my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And we, it's weird because it's not like we text every 5 minutes or anything, but we speak regularly and it's substantive. Yeah. It's always substantive.
Well, I know if I'm going to call you or if I'm going to.
It's going to be 3 hours.
We need time.
2 to 3 hours.
It's not going to be a quick exchange of witty banter or something.
Well, and it's funny because our personalities are very similar, and so I married your subdued sister who has a great sense of humor and can talk your ear off in the right setting.
Oh, she can, yes.
But it's funny because just before we came down to record, Val, I said, well, we're just going to do an hour. And Val goes, well, you both know how to talk.
We do.
Yeah.
Ruben and I can talk for quite
long time.
A while, yeah. And all my best friendships, my closest friendships are people that I can talk a long time with because, I don't know, it's just, that's building relationships and that's important to me.
I don't know what you're doing if you're not having substantive conversations with people.
Right.
That you're close to.
Well, because I really hate surface conversations.
Me too.
It is like, ugh.
And we can be good at it.
I can do it. I have my standard set of questions, as a teacher, I have certain questions I'll ask kids, that I know are, high schoolers. But I have a few other standard questions, but after I get to the end of that, I'm like, I don't even know what to say anymore. Cause I get tired of it.
I know you're not a Dumb and Dumber guy.
You're
not a guy
either,
actually not a guy.
And I'm not a
You're not
Dumb
a
and Dumber fan.
gal.
I've seen it once, and that was enough.
But there's a classic scene that Val sent me this video meme, and it's the scene when Jim Carrey's character comes out and he's talking to these guys outside of the 7-Eleven, and he goes, "Big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later." And the meme was me talking to Gen Z kids.
Yeah.
Because you get to that point with conversations where you go, okay.
Okay. Or, what's really hard, though, is when you're having small talk and you're ready to be done with the conversation and you give some sort of verbal cue that you're like, oh, okay, well, it's been great talking to you. And then there are kids who don't not just kids, people who don't pick up on it. And you're like, okay, so I guess we're going for round 2 of small talk. And
Could I pour some hot candle wax on my eye, please?
Seriously, I'm like, please read social cues. That is not a gifting for all people.
Oh, okay. This is another thing we have in common. Now you are way more gifted in the grammar department than I am.
Well, I do teach
but
English.
When people will say that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Nother isn't a word.
Right.
Please stop.
A whole nother. A whole lot. Mm-hmm.
You could say this is a whole other.
Yes.
It's a whole other topic.
Yes. Well, my favorite
additional.
my favorite is when, it's not quite the same one, but my favorite to hear and then correct is botten or I seen. This one of my favorite stories. I had a kid in my class. This was several years ago, and he would say I seen all the time, and I finally said to him, I won't use his name. I'm like, bud, that is not correct grammar. I have seen or I saw. He's like, well, all my friends and my family say that. I said, well, then all your friends and family are wrong.
I think it's cultural.
Oh,
because like my farm agrarian people talk like that too.
Maybe, but this was in Southern California, so I don't know.
I've seen this guy, and he was not that Montanans have Southern accents.
No,
but
they don't
I seen
actually.
This guy, he was hauling hay, and I was wondering what's he doing.
Yeah,
but,
and conversational English there you can be really forgiving. It's when that translates into your written English that is a little more.
That's a good. I think that's a good distinction to make because when I'm writing songs, I've got all kinds of grammatical errors in there on purpose. Well, it ain't what you've done or that kind of thing. What
frustrates me when I'm listening to music, and I don't listen to as much music as you do. I listen to a lot of music, but mostly mainstream Christian music is what I listen to most of the time. And I cannot listen to some songs because of the grammatical errors in them, because they're not like, I ain't this. It's like, it's wrong verb tense. I'm like, I can't. I won't name any names of artists, but there's one in particular that's poor.
If you're endeavoring to communicate important truths to an audience, you might want to think. Whereas when I write, especially Americana stuff or even punk rock stuff, I purposely want to say it how I would say it.
Sure. And you use the vernacular of the people, right? And that makes total sense. This is like just plain grammar, like wrong noun verb agreement. Yeah. That drives me nuts because I'm like, do you not have anybody who edits your lyrics?
Give an example. Give an example of noun verb agreement that's incorrect.
Well, I hear a lot of like, if I would say there is one way to do things, I'll have kids or they're. So if there's many ways to do things, my students will write, there is many ways to do things. There is. And I'm like, is singular. There are
many.
Yeah. It drives.
That's a good, because if your noun's plural, your verb has to
match. Yeah. And there are times where it's tricky, not to go into the weeds with boring grammar things, but when you have a prepositional phrase between your noun and your verb, that's tricky. And I explain that to my students, and I understand the mistake, but what's frustrating is then when you see it printed in books and you see wrong noun and verb usage.
You're not a Mark Twain fan, are you?
Not really. Especially. He's not my favorite.
But that'd be one example of where he will, I think in his books, he will write in the vernacular.
Well, he uses a lot of dialect.
And then pull out as the narrator.
Yeah.
And it'll be, quote, correct.
Yeah. I would, I had a Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn on my book report list for years. I took it off, I think, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, because there's just, my kids won't read it. It's too hard for them. The dialect, I would tell them, you need to read that part out loud because you will hear it as well as see it.
Yep.
Because dialect is meant to be heard.
Yeah.
Versus read. But you can read it, obviously, but it's just harder for kids who aren't used to hearing it.
If I ever write, I have not made work of this, but I wrote one devotional. Ooh. And I thought, when I get up to 365, I'm going to try and publish it somehow.
I'll edit it for you.
When that happens, you're the editor.
I will edit it for you.
You can sound dumb without knowing you're sounding dumb.
Yeah.
And you want to communicate effectively. That's one thing that I like grammar stuff.
Okay.
So one thing that I'm really worried about with AI and with Grammarly and these things, it's been proven that AI is causing us to think less.
Oh, of course.
Clearly, to think less effectively. Mm-hmm. So when your brain is given shortcuts, it doesn't do the work, and people's brains are truly atrophying.
Yep.
Because they're using all these shortcuts. The reading is good. Reading is good for you. Thinking is good for you.
It is.
And learning the rules.
It's problem solving.
Yeah.
So I've taught 8th grade for 29 years, and I have only for the last 2 years had to talk. I've talked about plagiarism for years, Look, this is why we don't plagiarize. These are the consequences of plagiarism, blah, blah, blah. Well, the last 2 years I've had to talk about AI. And I'm like, here's the thing. If you are going to choose to go on to ChatGPT or you're going to use Grammarly Go, I am not endorsing either of those things, but if you're going to use that, the problem is, as an 8th grader, you are not skilled enough in writing for most of them. 98% of them are not skilled enough in writing to be able to know if what it produces for them is actually well written.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know if it sounds right. They don't know. I mean, they just are like, oh, I've got the answer, so it's good. I had, when I was teaching Bible 2 years ago, one of my girls, it was just a response to a thought question. And I could tell she started writing it, and all the way, suddenly halfway through, she's sounding like she's a college student. And I'm like, what is going on here? So I just left her a comment, and I was just like, hey, if you would like credit for this, you're going to need to write it yourself. But she goes, well, I didn't know how to say it. And I said, I would rather have your attempts with your own words than you having a computer write it for you. Because what the computer wrote for you doesn't even make sense.
Well, how did it impact you?
Right, exactly.
That's the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely.
What's your perspective on his or her perspective?
Right. Yeah.
I think, okay, this is really interesting because this just happened. I was hanging out with some friends at another church, and this fella who is on staff there, he's using AI to write Christian songs.
Oh, wow.
And so he writes the lyrics, and then he uses AI to fill in all the other stuff.
Interesting.
And he goes, what do you think about that? I said, I think it's cool. He goes, do you use AI to write your songs? And I said, I'll never do it. Mm-mm. Well, why not? I said, because I like to struggle with every single word, with every single note, every single chord. It's from me and my perspective.
Well, and as a writer, I think you're a writer. When you're a writer, you want to wrestle with the words because the words matter. Yep. I mean, that's why was it 2 years ago? They had this big strike in Southern California for the Writers Guild or whatever it's called, because they were making sure AI wasn't going to replace them.
We're right there.
I know.
I mean, this is there have folks. You can look up. You can just type in the search on YouTube. There have been several video essays that have been produced about how Hollywood is making worse and worse movies because they're making movies that they hope the audience will like rather than trying to make a good movie. Well,
what frustrates me is, as a teacher, my kids, I want them to learn to love to read. Like, that has always been, for all my years of teaching, a passion of mine. Like, I have a really good library. I have lots of selection, and I'm always reading new young adult fiction and children's fiction because I want to be able to recommend books for different kids who like different kinds of reading. Or who don't like to read, and I want them to like to read. So what frustrates me is when Hollywood takes a young adult fiction book, and I'll use Divergent because Divergent has been out for a long time. The books are excellent. The movies are terrible.
Well,
and they take the storyline. The first movie's kind of similar to the books. But like the last movie, Allegiant, like it has the same title as the book and it has names of the same characters. But seriously, the storyline is absolutely nothing like the book. And I'm like, I mean, it's a lesson for my kids, Yeah. I'm always tell them, read the book first, then watch the movie. You will be very disappointed.
Would you say, so 2025, would you say that there are still good original books being written now? That you like, that have resonated?
There are. Yeah,
there are. Wouldn't you say, I would just assume, this could be a faulty assumption, that there are more good books coming out than good movies are coming out?
Oh, I would for myself, yes, I would agree with that. There is a lot of garbage that comes out for young adults and for, just in literature in general. But there's a lot of good stuff. You just have to weed through a lot of junk.
Which is hard because then you have to read the junk that you're reading.
Yeah, you do. And the hard part is there are books that are just poorly written. I mean, there's just a poor skill set on the author's part. Not that I would never be an author, but as someone who reads a lot, what is the more you read, the more you know what good writing is. And so yeah, I definitely would say that there are more books that I enjoy than movies I enjoy. In fact, I hardly watch movies. I almost always watch shows or documentaries.
Well, because they commit to a narrative in a lot of shows.
Mm-hmm.
You might have heard me rustling and ripping paper, but there were things I thought, I gotta write that down. Now I probably can't remember the stuff that I want.
Sorry.
No. Why would it's my fault? I literally put this back on the shelf before we started recording, and the reason I have this notepad here is to write down things during podcasts.
That's
because
amazing.
I start thinking of stuff that we should talk about that. But anyway, yeah, I just find it really interesting that so back to this gentleman that's writing music with AI. And I told him, if that's how you get into the creative process and you enjoy that, that's fine. To me, it's not much different than playing a video game or doing something like that. But I was thinking on the way back, I thought, what I might tell him next time is if you went to the grocery store and you were buying steaks that were grown in a lab, would you want to know? Of course you would. Mm-hmm. Or would you, so this one's lab grown, or this one's been butchered by a reputable butcher somewhere, and it's this type of beef, and it was, the whole buzzword is pasture raised and all the grass fed. Okay. I think that if they would have to label the food that, hopefully. Yeah. I think with content, it should be labeled. Yeah. And that's a whole thing in music. There's a big controversy going down right now. There's some AI band that on Spotify, and a bunch of people are following and listening to, quote, their music because they like it. Then found out that it's all AI. I mean, obviously a human's there to put the stuff in, but yeah, I don't like that. And I don't want to hear any of that stuff. And it does feel gross. It's like Terminator world to me. Yeah. And I have no desire. I'm not saying it's wrong, but like even in my seminary stuff, I have friends that will consult Chat GPT for this or that, but I just write papers and I go, look, this is probably not going to be very good, but this is what I think. And it's usually paid off because, I'm not consulting. I'm consulting what I know. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to, right now, I'm so sick of it. I could quit right now, but
don't quit.
I'm not.
I know.
But yeah, you were one of the first people.
That works. First person.
You were one of the first persons to stir my interest in reading. But anyway, you said, you gotta. So I'm a Lord of the Rings snob, and what got me reading the books was I watched the first movie in high school, and I'm going, all right, I gotta see what happens.
Kind of cool.
I've read The Hobbit, So I read all the books between when the Fellowship of the Ring was released and when the Two Towers came out, and I loved the books. I remember reading them on the pep band bus.
Nice.
I had the paperback copies, which I wore out, and then I got a hard copy, hardcover that it's on my shelf now.
Nice.
And I read all of them, and then you kept on telling me you got to read Harry Potter, and I go, it's dumb.
It's not dumb.
I'm not doing that. Well, then Val got me into the movies.
Yeah.
I watched all the movies up till the Deathly Hallows, or is it Hallows? Is it Hallows? Hallows.
It's H-A.
Hallows.
Yeah.
Anyway, the last book or movie. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta know what happens. So I was over 10 years ago. I read all the books in a month.
Oh yeah.
It's just you can just power them down.
Oh, because they're easy
really
to
good.
read. Mm-hmm.
Sidebar: I had this interaction with this person, and I go, "Oh, have you seen?" So I was clapping. There's in one of the Harry Potter movies, Dumbledore claps weird. He claps by hitting the top of his hand.
Yeah.
And I was clapping like that at a thing. And I said, have you ever watched Harry Potter? Like it's how Dumbledore claps. And the person very moralistically turns to me and goes, no, I haven't watched Harry Potter.
Harry Potter's beneath
I'm
me.
too good of a Christian for that.
Oh, well.
The whole witchcraft thing. Like, come on.
That was a big thing at first.
Yeah.
When it
Magic
came out.
is in their world. It's no different than any of the other stuff.
If you read the whole series, there's a whole lot of biblical comparison between. I mean, Christ figures are all throughout literature. So Just saying. But
I don't watch. Oh, okay, great. I should just have blue ribbons to pass out. Wow, you're such a good Christian.
Yeah, you should definitely.
But anyway, they were such good books. I'd read them again. But there's so many other books you've recommended and books that I'd like to read. As soon as I get out of school, I'm going to go on a big reading tear because it's good for you. And folks, like if you're not a reader, I challenge you to become a reader. Read a little bit at a time. Read a page at a time. Read 2 pages at a time. Maybe your comprehension's bad. Like, I understand that, but you're not going to get... It's been proven that you get better at reading by doing it.
Yeah. Well, and there's books for every topic under the sun. And if you're someone who isn't naturally drawn to books, start with an audiobook. I mean, I love to read, but as I've gotten older, I don't always have as much time to read. So I'll listen to audiobooks when I'm driving around. And so I get through books that way. And then what I often do, if it's a book I really, really enjoyed on an audiobook, I buy the book so that I can lend it out to other people because I'm a nerd. But there are so many kinds of books. If you just Google high interest books for whatever age, for genre, if you're, there's all kinds of things. And sometimes, like when I would recommend books for my students, it's amazing what will grab their attention that I'm not always expecting them to be drawn by.
I always liked fantasy stuff.
And that's very popular. I have lots of kids who love fantasy.
When I was in college, one of my friends recommended this Sword of Shannara. Oh. And it's a huge series, and I read one of the books. It's Terry Brooks.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And I liked that one. Then I read one that I just bought off the shelf at Walmart called The Amulet of Samarkand or something like that.
Yes, I know that one.
And that one's kind of diabolical.
That's a young adult fiction one too.
Pretty good. Mm-hmm. I like young adult fiction, and that's another thing for grown-ups. I think you'd find yourself recommending that.
Well, I'm going to recommend to you talking about AI.
Yeah, let's get them.
And I maybe told you, I think I was telling you about this book the other night, but Scythe by Neil Shusterman is a dystopian novel, so futuristic, right? But it's set like 200 years in the future. And AI is now running everything. It is called the Thunderhead.
Is it SCYTHE?
SCYTHE, yeah. The Thunderhead is what it's called. But so the cloud becomes the Thunderhead, and it runs everything. And they've eliminated death because they have nanites in the body. And I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking about how they can inject these little tiny robot things into your body to attack certain places. I'm like, this is just like this novel. This is crazy. Yeah, they call them these nanites, and so you could become deadish in this book, and they can revive you. There are revival centers.
So you talked about the cloud, so iCloud or Google Drive. So this overarching intelligence that rules everyone.
It rules everything. And
so it's a literal technocracy.
It is. Yeah. And it's often, and so the second book I think is in the series is called The Thunderhead. The Thunderhead has its own consciousness, and yet it can't make mistakes because it just can't. It only will look at all the hundreds of millions of options and then make the best choice, right? So it's always watching, it's always aware of what's going on. And one of the characters in the story, his best friend is the Thunderhead, and when the Thunderhead's all of a sudden,
giving me a little shiver.
It's really interesting.
Because there are people who have like AI girlfriends now.
I know, it's creepy. It's creepy. Yeah. It's a very fascinating.
Or boyfriends.
Well, yeah, that too. But yeah, this book came out, if I remember correctly, the first book came out in 2016, and I'm just like, the implications today are just like crazy, because I'm like, I could see this totally happening. I mean, maybe not eliminating death, obviously, but it is.
People talk about it though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's several people that are saying, through Neuralink and AI and nanotechnology and good health and all this stuff where, you could upload your consciousness.
Yeah, and they do that. They do that. So like if you become deadish, like it will refresh your memories because all of your memories are stored in the cloud.
Which freaks me out because it also is very apocalyptic. So like Revelation, when talking about the Antichrist and all those things, that's it's scary. Anything that would take the place of God.
Yes, and there are lots of those types of references, there because this there's a cult. That's the religion in the story, the Tonists, and they're waiting for the great resonance. And it is
that cult probably exists in Bozeman in Southern California.
Very well could.
Probably already meeting.
But what's crazy is how this culture is still searching, and this AI, this Thunderhead, doesn't meet it. And it's a really interesting book if you like dystopian fantasy type stories.
So I'm going to give you my definition of dystopian or dystopia, and then you can tell me if it's right or wrong.
All right.
This is my dumb guy definition.
That's okay.
Everything has gone bad.
That's really, This is how we would do, because we've already talked about The Giver in the past.
The Giver is a dystopian
novel.
and
I would read that with my students, and
so
we would talk
of
about
utopia, right?
Yeah, we would say every utopia is a dystopia.
Yeah.
So every perfect world is really an imperfect world, and what we would talk about is, you can make all these things seemingly perfect, but I would always use me as an example. The minute Miss Wynia walks in, it's broken. It's a dystopia because I'm sinful. And then we talk about, well, why? Why would that make it a dystopia? Well, everybody's idea of perfect is different. Okay, true. But I am never going to do everything perfectly. And if you don't like what I'm doing, my kids would have to create their own utopias, which was highly entertaining, by the way. And one of the most fun things as a teacher is to play devil's advocate and to go around and say, okay, well, what if I don't want to do that? You tell me that I have to be in my house at 8 p.m.
Well, then we'll put you in jail.
Right. Okay, well, what if I get out of jail? Well, well, you can't. I'm like, well, why not?
Well, I could.
I know. What if I'm really amazing and I've got these amazing powers you don't know about? And so it's just fun to...
Well, we'd make powers illegal then.
Yeah. Bottom line is you have to get them to say we're going to have to either control everybody or we're going to kill everybody. Yeah. That's really what gets to, and I never tell them that at the beginning, but that's really ultimately where it leads, which is sad.
I think maybe it would be unfair to refer to them as Marxists, but Leninites will say that. Mm-hmm. What did they do after the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia? Yeah. They thought that supposedly they had all these ideals and uphold, or how would you say it, vindicate or uphold the working class. And then they had all these folks that were incompetent. Mm-hmm. Okay, this guy's going to run a factory because he's been working in a factory. Well, it doesn't always work. And I'm not saying that it should be ruling class and working. But we have that in America, honestly. But so under that system, people just start getting killed. Yeah. And they ended up killing a bunch of middle class people because they were the biggest threat. Right. Okay, Nazism. Yeah. It was the same diff. They just started killing people that didn't agree.
It's because some people matter more than other people. Yeah. That's ultimately what it comes down to. And because we're sinful, because we have this desire to put ourselves on the throne of our own hearts, it's how can I get ahead? That's ultimately what all of us do. I mean, even the most humble and gracious among us, that still is a temptation. Yep. And so when you have power often will lead to, well, you don't agree with me, therefore, done.
Who's this? I don't know who the source of this quote is, but power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts.
I've looked that up. Absolutely. Yeah, and I've looked it up, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
It is true. But that's what's cool about a lot of these books is those authors are exploring these things. Yes. Well, wasn't it the gal who wrote The Hunger Games? Wasn't she inspired by
Collins?
I saw War on one channel, and then I saw American Idol on the next channel.
Could be.
And I thought, that's an interesting combination.
Yeah.
And
it wouldn't surprise me. I've not heard that, but it's very possible. It is what I love about reading dystopian stories is that there's always a level of plausibility. Yeah. And that's what's scary. And that, to me, I'm like one of those people who I will look at all the things that are going on and go, oh, I can see where this is headed. Now, I'm not always right, obviously, but you can, because I read so much, sometimes I'm like, if this doesn't change, if this keeps going this way, this is not going to be good.
Well, I used to joke about this. If you wanted to shut down any given American city, block the interstate and shut the internet off.
Yeah.
People would die. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of interesting. So you go from and hopefully there's some optimism in because there's some optimism in dystopian fiction.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's always the hero or heroine who is going to not save the day, but they're going to come in and they're going to destroy whatever corrupt power is in control. That or like in The Giver, there's a character who decides, I can do something about this. I've got to make a change so that for future generations, this is not the case. And that's what's the wonderful part of those stories, that there is always some sort of redemption. Yeah. I shouldn't say always, but most stories, at least in young adult fiction, most of the time there is.
You could almost say there are dystopian elements in the book of Revelation. Mm-hmm. Because there's the two prophets, and then they're killed, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not expert on the book Revelation.
Would you say they all go back to Aldous Huxley and George Orwell? Because Brave New
World, 1984.
Yeah, because I read Brave New World years ago. I still have not read 84.
Oh, you should. It's
and I need to.
Really accessible.
I watched the movie, which is from what I understand is pretty. Has it got John Hurt? I can't remember.
Could be.
But
John Malkovich, see it? No, maybe not. I don't know who's in it.
I should look it up.
I have not seen the movie 1984.
But anyway, that stuff is, like you said, the plausibility.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in 1984 has Big Brother watching you all the time, and I'm like, I think we're there.
We're dumber though because we surveil ourselves.
But if you read 1984, there is definitely a dumbing down. John Hurt, is a dumbing down of culture. It's really interesting. You should definitely read 1984. It's worth reading. I need to.
I honestly, this is what I wanted to talk about with just kind of nuts and bolts of reading stuff.
Okay.
So I'm struggling through a book right now that I am going to finish it. I want to finish it. What do you do when you are stuck in a book and you go,
I'm in the same place you are with two different books. One's an audiobook and one is a actual book I'm physically reading. Both of them recommended by someone I respect. And they're like, oh, I really like this book. So I really want to read it, right? Because I respect their recommendation and I'm really struggling with both of them. I had someone older and wiser than me tell me many years ago, if you get 50 pages in, and if you're 50 years old and you're 50 pages in, you can quit at 50 pages because there are too many books to read. And I'm sure she got it from something she read. But then if you're younger than 50, you have to read whatever number of years you are younger than 50 plus 50. So you're 41.
Yeah.
Right? So you would have to read 59 pages of a book and then quit. And am I going to still power through both of these books? Probably. It just makes it hard. I don't finish books that I'm not interested in. The only reason that I'm going to finish the one that I have is because it was lent to me by my friend, and then I feel bad if I'm like, I hated it, was boring.
Didn't like it.
Did not finish. DNF as all the readers put.
And then in the case this one that I'm reading, I like the characters.
Okay. See, that would be enough for me to be reading it.
It's been a time thing, so I'm going to finish it. But I'm so tempted. Like, I just want to get a copy of 1984 and just start it.
I am reading multiple books at a time.
And I'm going to buy a hard copy because if this AI thing keeps going how it is, so you should borrow my hard copy.
Yeah.
Because they've scrubbed it from, there's weird stuff going on with Kindle too.
Really?
Yeah.
I've not heard that.
If you check, I should really look this guy up. He does all these video essays.
I have my Kindle.
I could say, there are interesting things going on, I guess, with memberships on Kindle.
Oh.
And stuff like that.
I don't know.
So I've got to see if I can find this fella. I don't want to start playing the videos and have them. It's so interesting the things that come up in your feed.
Oh, yes, that is the
on
truth.
YouTube. But I can look at my subscriptions. And Jared Henderson is his name. And he talks about all kinds of, here are some of his videos. The elite college students who can't read books. That's one of his popular ones. Amusing ourselves to death. Why we can't focus. Write your story. How to journal. So that becoming a better reader. I think you'd really like his stuff. He's really, really good. Amazon deleted 1984. Kindle has a big problem, so I'm leaving it behind. So those are actually, I will just email you this right now.
I'm going to look up 1984 on my Kindle.
So, see if you. So
George Orwell.
I don't know if if that's
Appears
the case.
to be
It's
there.
on there.
It appears
so I'll
to be
send
on
you
my
the video
Kindle.
and you can
Okay.
fact check it. But anyway, he just has some really interesting stuff, and he's one of the ones who's been talking about. There's another interesting YouTube channel called Horses.
I don't know that one.
And it's kind of philosophically oriented. But
Okay.
Anyway, I really like Jared Henderson. He's got some good stuff. It's funny because it's really just his face talking. He's just videoing himself talking about things. But yeah,
What?
and
No bells and whistles?
I would imagine that he's probably more on the progressive end politically, but his stuff's really good. So
Well, if he's talking about, using skills that are being lost, unfortunately, by a large cross section of our culture. I mean, my kid, I don't know. It is just, it's sad how few kids are actually choosing to read for entertainment, for it just being something that they like. And a big part, I just listened to a podcast this summer called Sold a Story, which I would highly recommend. It's about the whole language, teaching of whole language. I don't know. Am I allowed to mention other podcasts? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. But as an educator, I don't teach writing because I obviously teaching again? Sold a Story.
Oh, cool.
I would recommend it very much. It's about, and it would have been, going on when you were in school. I remember when I first started teaching, hearing about whole language, and I'm like, what? And basically it's this, do we teach phonetics, or we so that kids can decode words, or do we teach them how to guess at words in order to understand the meaning? So you have to look at the picture. I won't do justice to I could explain it, but I don't want to bore your listeners with it. But Sold a Story, it's well worth listening. If you're interested in reading, and if you're interested in why so many people don't like to read, it's probably not in every case, of course, but in many cases, people were not properly taught how to read. So, if you're not skilled at something, you're not going to do it for fun.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not good at baseball. I don't, okay, maybe that's not a good example, but
no, that's a great example.
I know the basics of baseball, but I'm not good at it. And I don't know that I've been taught specifically, or I'll use soccer. Soccer's easier. I don't know how to kick a soccer ball. I know, kick with the side of your foot. Okay. But I'm not, soccer to me is a mystery, all the rules and stuff, because I've never had anybody explain it to me in a way that makes sense. And so I don't enjoy it.
Well, I think those are both really good analogies, because I never got the fundamentals of baseball down, and I never liked it. Because,
right.
Well, personally, I just was never really attracted to a projectile heading toward me.
I'm also not a sports person. Yeah. I like to watch my students play, but that's about it. When kids would ask me, "Who's your favorite team, Miss Wynia?" I'm like, I watch our school team, and that's about it.
Let's go sports. Let's go sports ball.
I always tell them, if you are playing for a team somewhere and you want me to come watch, I will cheer for you.
I sent you that.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So if you're 50 to 60 pages in and it's not getting you, quit it. Yeah.
There are too many books to read.
Yep. Well, I'm listening through this. So I am listening through a book right now. I should see if I can find it. I don't want to open Spotify because it does weird things on my desktop. Sure. But maybe I can get into my account.
I don't have a good rule of thumb for quitting audiobooks because I'm really struggling with the audiobook I'm listening to, and I'm 40-some% in, and I'm like, I don't understand the point of this book. I don't understand where it's going, and I really want to listen to one of my other books that I have downloaded. So I'm struggling.
It's got to send a code to my email so I can log in.
Yeah, of course.
I'm so sick of that.
Yeah.
Don't share it with anyone. I hope this was right. Nope, it's not. Okay. I just want to get into my Spotify. That's all I want to do. Okay. Come on, thing. Do I have to send another code? I sure hope not.
Technology's awesome, isn't it?
Anyway, I'm not even going to try. It's a book about, I think I told you about it. It starts with journal entries from Meriwether Lewis.
Oh, I don't
and then
think
it goes to it's true and folk tales from mountain men and explorers and stuff.
That's cool.
It's really interesting, and I'm listening to that, and I think listening to it has been a little bit better. That's why I just want to name it, because I know people who'd really like it. So here's a little bit of maybe a case not a case study, but just a case or something. You are talking to a 25-year-old ranch guy, and he can't stand reading, but he likes Western stuff. He might be interested in maybe adventure or this or that. What kind of book do you recommend to that guy? I know I'm kind of throwing you a curveball.
That's okay. It's what I do for my job. So my immediate thought, of course, is Louis L'Amour and Zane Grey, and that's largely because that's what my dad read. Like,
he read those.
I think he probably read every one of those books multiple times. Yeah, Louis L'Amour, Zane Grey. If you like a good cowboy western, those are good. If you like an adventure type story, I mean, I don't know if the age range of people listening. Sorry,
there's quite a few youngers.
Okay.
And some elders.
Well, My Side of the Mountain is always
I remember that.
Jean Craighead George, I think is the author's name. One of my girls this year who does not like to read. I've recommended that kid to lots of kids, and she just took off with it. She loved it. If you've read Hatchet, did you ever read Hatchet when you were a kid?
No, I need to read that.
Gary
one.
Paulson.
My brother Caleb loves that. By the way, speaking of him, he will be eating this episode alive because he likes to read.
Oh, good. I love Caleb. And I'm glad he loves to read.
This one is a great title. Tales of the Mountain Men, 17 stories of survival, exploration, and frontier spirit.
Yes.
By Lamar Underwood.
Inspiring.
Yeah.
I like it.
So it's really cool because when you're at the beginning, this is Lewis's journal of the first time they killed a grizzly bear. And
is this Lewis and Clark?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Meriwether Lewis.
My 8th graders had to read that, and so many of them struggled to understand it because even just their journals
Lewis was
hard to understand.
He was a well-spoken, good writing, well writing person.
Well written. I
well
don't know
written.
What you would
but
call
anyway,
it.
See, look, we struggle with grammar ourselves.
Yes.
But
word choice.
But it's those type of things. So those are those kind of things that Zane Grey or Louis L'Amour.
Yeah.
Those type of things, and you can recommend. So that's part of the problem if you don't like to read, is you're probably reading the wrong stuff. In my case, I associated reading with school, and I hated school.
Yeah.
I did not like it. But then all my my favorite teachers, I liked all my teachers, honestly, but hated school like my teachers. Except for
I have kids who really don't like English, but really like me. So, like my class.
English always came easy to me, but
it's because you're a word person.
I am. I had. I don't want to use my iPhone 12 Pro Max for this. Why are you telling me? Thank you, Apple. But anyway,
the benefits of being connected.
I guess. But then when I could disassociate reading from struggling through school, that helped me a lot. Well, if you read all the Lord of the Rings books, I mean, you are wasn't a challenge for me at all. I mean, there's obviously some terms,
sure, but there's complex sentence structure. Yep. There's advanced vocabulary. They're a little bit higher reading level. So, the fact that you made it through there makes me think you don't struggle with understanding what you read or decoding what you're reading. So,
but I mean, I had a guy years ago. And he said, I really struggle to read the Bible. It's just really hard for me to get a grip on certain things as a grown up. And I said, I'm not trying to sound insulting or patronizing, but why don't you get a children's Bible and just read that?
Or what is it, the action? There's an action.
That's my favorite children's Bible. The action Bible.
Yeah, I had a kid he's not a kid anymore. He's like in his 30s, but he went to our middle school, and then he went to a public high school near us, and Jesus really got a hold of him when he was like a junior, and he started bringing his Bible to school, and he was going to play basketball. Like he planned to play basketball out of high school. Well, he in 8th grade dislocated his hip, and that kept being a problem for him. And so in high school, he came to realize it's probably basketball is not going to pan out. And the Lord just really got a hold of him, and he would bring his action Bible to school, and he would just sit at his school and read his Bible. And he's not a kid you would just expect to do that. He's all tatted up now, and he's just not a typical, like, I'm going to come to school and read my Bible that you would picture in your mind. And so
I'm
I just
sure
love that. He got into it. It made sense to him.
He got into a real Bible at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that's your entry point.
Yeah.
You're reading, I mean, even that. Read a comic book.
Yeah.
Read a graphic. Road to Perdition was a graphic novel.
Yeah. My struggle is that there's so much dumbing down of text.
Yeah.
Because we've been taught whole language and our kids don't know how to read without pictures. And I'm like, you have to graduate into reading without pictures, people. Because otherwise,
it's good for you. My dad's a reader. I mean, he'll get, I forget, he was going down to Texas for Thanksgiving last fall. And he was scrambling. He went to Barnes and Noble because he was scrambling to find a good book to read on the plane.
Oh, nice.
He likes to read.
Huh.
So yeah, you just got to find the right stuff.
You do.
You got to find things that are interesting. Back in the day, it was just like with CDs and records and tapes. I would choose. I talked with Joe about this on the last episode. I chose some CDs based on the cover art.
Oh, yeah.
And totally won.
I choose books based on that, too.
And I have done that with books as well.
I mean, let's be real. Sometimes the cover art is what draws you to it. And so if there's bad cover art, you're like, this doesn't interest me at all.
I think it's a little bit of an indictment on the author and the
it's more the publishing company, I think, if they're the ones who do the artwork for it. But
But if you wrote something that's not good and were picked up by a bad publisher, now maybe don't judge a book by its cover, right? But
for sure.
But also, I do think, I mean, I have it with music stuff. Like if your album art is really corny and bad and it's Comic Sans or something, I'm not listening to that unless you're using it ironically.
Right. That happens in artwork, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very picky about my book covers too. And there will be like some books that have been republished and they have different covers. And sometimes I'm like, why did they change this? This is so lame but they're appealing to a different audience than me. Everybody has different tastes, different preferences. So I think there's some of that too, but
To me, you will never get cozier than the original illustrations in the Chronicles of Narnia. Because those are just the pin and cross hatching and
there are some books that have really good illustrations. Yeah, for sure. No, go ahead.
No, you.
Well, I was going to say, have you ever read Peter and the Starcatchers?
I need to.
Okay, that'll be a fun one. Maybe
Sounds
I'll get
like a 1960s pop band.
It's a prequel.
And now we have Peter and the Starcatchers.
It's actually a prequel for Peter Pan, and it's written by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. And
like the Dave Barry? Like from TV?
It's like, the one who writes satire.
Yeah, didn't he have a TV show
I don't know
in the 90s?
He might have. I don't know. I know he was a satire writer, I think. Wrote news columns. I don't know. But it's fun. And the chapters, super short, most of them. But they have great illustrations in there too. I would read that one to my 8th graders often second semester, but it just was too long. It was hard to get it all in.
I'm going to look him up. I got to look up Dave Barry.
I think it's probably the same one. I don't know.
We're not thinking about the English rock singer. We're not doing
that.
I could have his Barry.
Correct.
Yeah, that's not him though. Okay, so then what was TV show with guy named Dave?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
This is just in my my weird mind. I don't want to try AI mode Google. Dave's World. Remember Dave's World? Loosely based on the life and syndicated newspaper columns of humorist Dave Barry.
That's him.
So the show was based on the name of the actor, though. I'm trying to remember who it was.
What was the name of the show? I can look it up.
Dave's World.
Oh, Dave's World. Okay.
Let's see. Harry Anderson.
Oh, yeah, from Night Court.
Yeah. So it was based on his life. That's kind of
cool.
It is the guy.
Yeah, that is him. Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, so I'll check it out. Do you remember also the guy who wrote the original Peter Pan was kind of a perv?
I don't know much about J.M. Barrie.
Interesting to look up.
Okay, I'll look up. I've seen Finding Neverland.
Well, it's Johnny a good movie. It's really emotional. I will never watch it again.
Yeah, it's a heavy one. Yeah.
But
I don't know that about him. No,
like you can look up some stuff about. It's a little disturbing, honestly.
Okay, that'll be a fun little
Peter
deep dive
Pan
later.
Was trying to yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
But it's a good story.
It is. Well, this Peter and the Starcatchers is nothing weird about it. It's just fun. And so if you know the Peter Pan Disney movie, it's written so that like it leads up to that. And it's a fun series and it's high interest. And if you're looking for a fun fantasy story for kids, it's excellent.
That's cool.
I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any violence. I don't know. There's a giant alligator, crocodile.
That's what I like about I don't want to take it all back to Lord of the Rings, but that's what tying that in with the dystopian thing, that there's always a hero that defies whatever the convention
odds.
is. So what I love about, I think what has caused Lord of the Rings, by the way, those movies have aged very well.
I have not watched them in a while, but I believe
still love them.
Well, they're period pieces, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but also they were, as far as adaptations go, they were very faithful.
Yeah,
you know,
I really enjoyed
things
them.
but they couldn't include everything.
No.
So what I love about, and what a lot of people love about Lord of the Rings is the least assuming, weakest characters in that entire world are the ones who end up vanquishing evil. Mm-hmm. Not that they didn't have help.
Hobbits, of
they
course.
had lots of help. And what I thought was interesting is J.R.R. Can't talk again. J.R.R. Tolkien said that in his view, Samwise was the hero.
Oh, I love Samwise Gamgee.
Because Frodo's kind of a dork.
Yeah, he is. He has to carry the ring, so
he's
in a
got
way, a lot of weighty stuff to deal with.
He had a lot of stuff on his shoulders.
Yes.
He had a lot of stuff around his neck. But anyway, but I just really like that. I think that's an example of a great story. So people because it is, okay, I'm tired of reading all the Elvish songs, and I can't believe the first chapter is 50 pages and all that. It's
My
hard
struggle
to get
was
into.
all the names.
Yeah.
Because when I first read the Fellowship of the Ring, I'm like, this guy has two names. So Aragorn. See, there's a book Aragorn. And Strider. And I'm like, so wait, this is the same guy? And then I would get Saruman and Sauron mixed up all the time because I'm like, I don't know which one. And then I watched the movie and I was like, oh, now I know. I have a picture. So that was helpful for me.
It's cool that movies can be an entry point.
Oh, for sure they
what
can.
We would counsel you. I think we will. I think we're at a spot where we can keep this to about an hour. We could talk about so much stuff.
We could keep talking.
We ended up being on a good topic.
Yeah.
So if there's a movie you like that is based on a book, we would both say unequivocally, read the book.
Always read the book first. Always. And
I was opposite with that.
And my brother too.
And it paid off for
Chris
me.
Too. Yeah.
So
yeah,
but I think you're right. Read the book first. I won't watch the Giver movie because I read the book and
terrible.
I loved it so much, and I will not watch the movie.
The movie is terrible. My kids would ask, "Are we going to watch the movie?" I'm like, "No, because we can't get that hour and a half of our lives back. I've already lost an hour and a half to that movie."
Well, it's kind of that deal of I've told people this about Bozeman. Mm-hmm. Growing up around the Bozeman area. And moving back after 20 some odd years, by the way, how many people don't get my reference to Rip Van Winkle? Too many.
Really?
No, Rip Van Winkle falls asleep. He's asleep for how many years?
100 years, I think.
He wakes up with a big beard. At least that's what all the cartoons have.
Yeah, I have a picture with the beard.
His whole world has changed. I feel like that moving back here.
Okay, can I tell you a little education analogy?
Yeah, I do have to get the Bozeman thing.
Write down the Bozeman thing.
Will.
Write down. I remember several years ago, we had one of our teachers, who's not at our school anymore, talk about use this Rip Van Winkle story and how he fell asleep and he wakes up 100 years later and he's looking for a place that's familiar. And where does he go? A school, because it's exactly the same as it was 100 years before. And it was this idea that, we have to get on board with technology. And what's so funny is now there are studies about how all that technology for our kids is just so not helpful.
It would probably be better for all children and teachers, even though I really enjoy the shortcuts I have through my computer. But it would probably be better for most people if we went back to notebooks and pens and pencils and mistakes and erasing. So, okay, back to the Bozeman.
Go to Bozeman. Sorry.
This is because it's just a really good example of the book movie thing.
Okay.
I finally started telling people living in Bozeman right now is like somebody I love died and they came back as a zombie.
Oh.
They look the same, but it's not them. And that's how I feel. Now,
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Kind of.
If you dig deep enough, there's still a bunch of this stuff here that I love. Sometimes I drive around. So I was listening to Counting Crows came on my Spotify.
Okay.
And it reminded me of driving through Bozeman with my dad. And I thought, okay. Because my dad would go, the singer actually does look like a crow. Anyway. But
okay.
I don't think he does.
I don't think so either, but I'm like, all right.
He's a really cool guy. But it brought me back to, okay, this still is home and all that. But it is like with a book, it's okay, it's got the name, but it's nothing like the book.
No.
They've glossed over all the stuff. I mean, it's almost kind of the when you try to reduce a person down to a few things.
Well, and the pacing of a book is different than the pacing of a movie.
Yep.
When you're in a book, you are often, especially if you're doing young adult or children's literature, you're in the mind of one of the characters. And so you can go at a slower pace because you're thinking thoughts with them and you're seeing things through their eyes. But if you do that in a film, that just drags and drags. Of all the Harry Potter movies, which I love the Harry Potter movies too.
They did a good job.
The book's way better, but I am a fan. I have to kind of think of them as separate entities. I felt the first two movies were so slow.
Yeah, they were.
And they were the most accurate to the actual books. And I still like them, but it doesn't always translate well to take... So I understand why they make some changes. My struggle is when a book is made into a film, is they make huge, plot things that they take plot things that are integral to the story and they change them completely. I will not give away spoilers because I hate when people give away spoilers. But in The Giver, the thing that makes this world a dystopia is something that's pretty horrific when the main character finds out.
Yeah.
In the preview for the film, it tells what it is. It just spoils it. And I'm like, I remember watching that the first time I watched it with my students were like, can we watch the preview of The Giver? I'm like, sure. So we watch it and I'm just like, they just told what the main thing is. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. There's something wonderful about the gradual reveal in a book that you can't get in a movie the same way. Nope. It's just different. There are other things in that book because I've read that book literally over 100 times.
And
so
yeah, films can challenge you and they can change your perspective on things. I mean, I know.
I love films too.
I am lockstep with all the young men who are now middle-aged men of my generation. When Fight Club came out, by the way,
I still have never watched that one.
Based on a book.
I know you don't talk about it.
The book is better. Yeah,
I'm sure.
Talk about Fight Club.
Yeah.
But and that author is fairly, I don't know, maybe anarchistic and nihilistic in some ways. But the whole point of the story is that they create this counterculture which ends up kind of cannibalizing itself, and they're no better than the society that they're fighting against. Kind of a thing.
Animal Farm. Have you read Animal Farm, George Orwell?
I haven't, but I need to.
That one's really short. You could read that one really fast. But that one's it's a satire of Russian the Bolshevik Revolution, and basically they're the same as the humans.
Well, they end up being worse.
Yeah. Well,
because that's what happens in Fight Club too. And sorry I guess that was a bit of a spoiler.
That's okay.
Anyway,
I'm not going to give spoilers. You can give spoilers.
But but those type of things. I mean, it just makes you think. Reading literally makes you think. It's good for you. As I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, all right, I need to dedicate more time to reading because it does kind of zero you out in a good way. Mm-hmm. There's something good about it. I mean, as Christians, we are textual people. Mm-hmm. I mean, even I was telling you about my struggles with starting to preach through the book of James, and I was preaching through the book of Acts for 2 years almost. And it's all story. There's a lot of what they would call didactic material. There's some teaching. There's a lot of theology and that. But as Minnesotans say, and that, But anyway, but yeah, jumping it. Now I'm jumping into a different genre, which James is. It's a letter and an epistle, they would say. And I'm in chapter. I can't get out of the first 18 verses because I keep going, okay, I got to go deeper and I got to go deeper. That's literature.
Yep.
That's how it is. There's so many layers and it's a different way of thinking.
And honestly, the more you read it, the more you get out of it.
Yeah.
Because that's why I get really nerdy about the books that I've taught for so many years, because I've read them and every time I read them, I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. Or a kid will ask a question, well, what about this? And I'm like, I never thought of that. What a great question. Let's talk about it. And that's one of the things that good literature will do. And obviously the apex of literature is scripture. So, I mean, there's so much depth to it, largely because it's written in a different language. And
I'm trying to find this this guy. It's the quote. It's something to the effect of "You can never go home again." Oh yeah, it's most famously associated with Thomas Wolfe's 1940 novel of the same name. But I want to read that one anyway.
Oh, okay.
But it's so what I was thinking about that quote. The reason I was thinking about that quote is because you can read the same book every year, and essentially you are the same person. I mean, we're all recognizable from when we were kids, from when, at least when our personalities started becoming evident.
Yep.
But so you're the same person through your whole life, but you're also a different person through your whole life. So you've gone through a different set of experiences.
Yeah.
You read The Giver again. Now all of a sudden it's different.
Yeah.
I don't think this is, I'm not going to share it because you should read the book if you're listening to this. But there's a scene, I would call it graphic. It's not graphic by 2025 standards, but to me it's graphic. It's the hunting scene.
Oh, in The Giver?
He sees a memory.
Oh yeah, of hunt. Yeah,
a hunt.
You could say there's it's poachers.
Shot.
It's poachers.
Yeah,
yeah.
That scene made me cry.
Really?
When I read it, I don't know why.
I don't know.
But now there would be other things in that book that would hit me harder since
yeah,
I've lost
I
my
bet
mom.
you. Yeah.
So
oh yeah.
Just here's the point. All right, we're gonna wrap this up because we could honestly keep going.
We'll probably leave this room and continue talking.
Yeah,
about
we
things.
will.
Yeah.
We're going to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grill some burgers too. But anyway, so look at that. Burgers versus pizza. We're having burgers
look
tonight.
At that.
It's as my retired pastor friend Don Rignaldo would say, "It was a divine appointment." But anyway, the point of this all is, okay, love you, sister. Proud of you.
Thank you.
And go read.
Yeah.
Go read a book.
Go read a book.
Go read it. Touch grass and read books.
Yeah, and if you need suggestions, seriously, there are all kinds of good lists online. Don't just look for what's popular on Amazon or on Kindle, or just look for books teachers recommend.
Or comment on this podcast.
Ooh.
What book would Michelle recommend for me? I'm this.
And then you'll have to tell me because I don't listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah, but I will.
Okay.
I'll just text you.
All right.
And then I can get back in the comments, or
For sure.
if you probably have my email or whatever. But
I
anyway,
might, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
This is really fun.
Thanks for letting me do this while I'm visiting.
Yeah, that's double bonus.
Yeah.
Hey,
win-win.
Folks, thanks for listening to the Rubecast. I always close my eyes when I do this. I don't know why, because probably have to think. Thanks for listening to the Rubecast. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. I would say I'd do this if I didn't have listeners, but now I'm going to kind of be a hypocrite and say I'm not sure if I would do this if I didn't have listeners.
It's really fun to have listeners.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
But the
I'll
process
listen.
has been really fun because we have these kind of things, and it's just been really neat to have all these awesome guests just right under my nose.
Well, and you know so many people with so many different diverse interests, and I think that's kind of fun because
it's been really fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. Maybe I'll you hear me next week. Thanks for listening. Have a good one, folks.